Welcome back to Coaching 101. I'm here with Anthony Jana, the Australian correspondent for my YouTube channel. Anthony, thanks for coming back on the show. You had a little plug you wanted to give before we get started.
Well, first of all, we're going to say happy birthday to Grant. That is.
Thank you.
I can't. He's a better man than I am. I would not be working on my birthday, but whatever.
Well, I like to make money. You probably made a lot more of it than I have in my life, so I'm trying to stick in there.
Well, yeah, okay. At your age, yeah, I would have worked. I was working 8 days a week.
Right. Yeah, I haven't taken a day off since April, so I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing. Whatever. Anyway, so what do you want to talk about?
Well, there's a couple of things. We want to touch on Robert Saleh just because it's such a big issue at the moment.
Yes.
And the Jimmy G thing, we spoke about it last week. So I'd like to just conclude on that because there's been more discussion during the week I've noticed on it. So yeah, so I'd like to just do like a final full stop conclusion on it, and hopefully that answers the question. You had one guy with was it K Bar or
Kelly? Yes.
Kelly, yeah, and he sort of the question was raised, and he was like, I don't know what they're going to do. They'll either keep him, they may keep him or no, or they could get rid of him, or and he wasn't sure, and he was like, I really don't know. I'd love the answer, but I don't know. So I think hopefully I've got the answer for him because I gave it some thought.
All right, great. Looking forward to it. But first, we're going to start with what we do every week is some plays because this is Coaching 101. But we're not going to be looking at the Niners because they're out of it. We're going to be looking at – what's that?
Well, we sort of are in a sneaky way.
Okay. So let's explain what we're doing. What is this?
It's always about the Niners, okay?
Okay. But this is this past weekend's game. This is a kickoff.
Okay, this should be a punt return.
Well, I'm in the wrong place, so let me try again.
Sorry. Kickoff return, yeah.
A kickoff?
It's a return, isn't it?
It certainly is. All right, let's check it out. Let's check it out from the end zone.
Yeah, and I thought this was a really fun play. I really love seeing this on game day, but it's the one where he jumps over the top of a couple of guys, right?
Yes. Yep.
And
so let's see. One.
Yeah, you can see it better from the side on. I don't know if you've got this, like the side on version, you can see it a lot better. Yeah, you can see it a lot better here. Watch this.
Nice. 2. Nice play. Love it.
Yeah. So I love that. What a super cool play, right? And the thing I want to ask is, who does that remind you of?
Brandon Ayuk.
Thank you very much.
We're on the same page.
Now, you know what I've been talking about. The game. Yes, it's about the players, but really, it's about time and field position. That is what this game is all about. It's just like a big chess game, and to me,
because chess is about time and board position, right?
Yeah, the punt returns and all that kind of stuff, they're super important because if you can just get an extra even 10 yards from it, that is 3 less plays that our offense needs to perform.
That's right. That's one first down they don't have to pick up.
Yeah, which is a big thing, and it doesn't sound like much because it's only 1 down, but it's 3 plays that their defense can actually stop us. So they can stop us in our tracks right from the start. I don't want that.
Right.
So the big question, and we're back to coaching, is Kyle Shanahan, what were you doing all year?
Yes. Yeah. Agreed.
And
why is your special team so bad?
And there was some mention about injuries, potential injuries. I would love it if anyone in the chat room, anyone watching, can send a message. But I can't think of any punt of any team of all 32 teams. I can't think of one injury.
Yeah.
For the entire season.
Yeah,
So
right.
So
The Niners are the only team.
So really, that discussion about it being a risk of injury, it's again,
The
it's
only one was Dante Pettis, who was like tiptoeing up the field.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But again, that's only an opinion. When I listen to that, I sort of go, well, that's just an opinion. Let's look at the facts. And the facts are that nobody's getting injured in that format generally. So they're getting injured in all sorts of other ways, but not in that.
So real quick, you may not have seen this, but a guy named Rick Gosselin ranks and grades special teams across the league every year. Is a special team. I don't want to hear our ranking. And it's everything. It's returns, it's coverage, it's kicking, it's punting. It's a lot of stuff. He takes it all into account. And can you guess where the Niners ranked out of 32 teams this year?
I'm gonna block my ears for this.
27th.
Yeah.
And that sounds right to me.
I believe it. And the thing that Kyle needs to understand, it is 1/3 of the team.
Yes.
So
it absolutely is.
And I think I messaged you months and months ago about this topic, and you know, and I think in the message I said something along the lines of, Kyle, he pretty much ignores special teams.
Yes. And that's the mark of a offensive coordinator, not a head coach. A head coach understands how important special teams is. Look at the Patriots. Every year their special teams is right at the top of this guy's rankings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because when a head coach is putting together a plan of how to beat an opponent, special teams is part of that plan.
Well, because it's all about field position. And the other thing, if you remember that message, I was talking about the gunner position, because it's not just the returner. I want the gunner, and what I wanted was I wanted Mostert to do that job, because he's phenomenal at it. And my theory is this: a question. When Mostert runs down and he's so fast, he can cause a fumble. He can cause a field position. But what happens immediately after that play? So Mostert runs down. He might pin them down into a really good spot for us.
Yep.
Right. And then what does Mostert do immediately after that play?
Goes to the bench and sits down and relaxes.
So is that really too much to ask? I don't think that's too much to ask.
And really, like, most times there's a fair catch. So in an actual game, there might be one, maybe two plays where he gives an actual sprint and has contact.
Exactly. So again, that was another one that wasn't used all year. So
real quick, if you remember the Harbaugh years, Harbaugh's teams always were very good on special teams. There was Blake Costanzo. There was Bubba Ventrone. These were guys on the team specifically to play special teams. C.J. Spillman. Andy Lee. I still don't understand why the Niners got rid of Andy Lee. He's still the best punter in the division. So they always took it very seriously.
You have to be. It's to me, it's so important. And if you think about our whole season, it's those moments. It's a game of inches, as they say.
Right.
Well, there's a lot more than inches involved in special teams. We're going to get more than that.
And every time it's like, Kyle, how come this guy can't play special teams? How come that guy can't play special teams? Oh, he might get hurt. It's football, Kyle.
It's just an opinion.
It's just an opinion. Show me the evidence.
Yes. So I don't know if you noticed, Grant, but on these shows we've been doing, I really try not to give an opinion. Have you noticed that?
That's what I do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're fantastic. But you're a professional. I'm just an amateur.
No, but I like your fact-based analysis. Do you want to talk Saleh now?
I just do another quick one. This is a funny one. This is quarter 2 of that game.
Okay.
And it's 153.
All right. Quarter 2, 153. I'll get there in a second.
And that's all we'll look at, and then we'll go fun stuff.
And then we'll talk about Saleh.
This is Grant's birthday. We're doing fun stuff.
Just a second. Almost there. All right. 153 said. This is a 4th down.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fourth
It's
and
not,
goal at the 4.
it's not up on the screen. It's not up on the screen, Grant.
Oh, sorry about that. Hold on. Boom. All right. Here we go.
All right. Now it's a 4th and 1, but again, I'm never really concerned about what happens in the play, whether it's successful, unsuccessful, what happens. I'm always concerned about the play calling and the coaching side of things. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So here's my thing with this. If you look at the score, I think if we're the Colts, because we're on offense, right? I'm putting us into it.
I know exactly what you're going to say right here. They're up 3, 151 left. Why are they going for it here, Anthony?
Yeah, we're up 10-7, right?
Yeah.
And it's a fourth down. Now, look, I know what the coach is doing, and it's understandable because it's actually fairly close in percentage terms, right? But basically, what the coach, and so this is not a Kyle Shanahan problem. This is an NFL-wide problem that I've noticed. Okay, mm-hmm. and what it is the coach is basically making a call here. He's basically saying, should we go for it? Should we go for it, or should we take the 3 points? Should we go for it? Take the 3 points. What should we do? I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Now this happens all the time in every game. It happens on multiple occasions. It's happening all the time.
Yes.
And okay. So now the play. Don't worry about the play. But here's an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. They didn't take the 3 points.
Right.
At the end of the game, what was the final score?
They lost by 3, 27-24.
They lost by 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a number of reasons why I'm calling the 3 points and not going for the 7.
Right.
And it's what we talked about in the first 3 shows. It's all those things that I talk about. I factor in the score. I factor in the remaining time in the game. I factor in, you know,
right.
And I've only shown everybody those 3 things. Okay?
I just don't understand why the Colts thought. I mean, what are the odds of picking up a 4th and goal from the 4? Below 50%.
Exactly. Now, so yeah. Now you know the way that I do play calling. I don't do it from what's my gut feel at the time.
Right.
And so what happened? This is kind of interesting. It was back in the Seattle game. Yeah. That Seattle Week 10 game that I keep referring to.
2019. Right? Yes.
Yeah, last year. So what happened? I noticed this happening all the time. I saw it as a problem, not only in that game, not only for Kyle Shanahan, but for every coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I actually did, I'm going to give a plug for myself here. What I actually did, I formulated a program. I started a program. Have you noticed how easy? Have you noticed how easy it is for me to do play calling? Have you noticed this?
It's just an amazing ability for you. It's like second nature.
But it's actually not me. So what I noticed in the whole NFL was that the coaches were using. They were just going with their gut feel. You know, should we go for it? A 4th and 1. Should we go for it? Should we punt it away? What should we do? You know.
Yeah. What does my gut tell me?
Yes. So, and this happens all the time. So what I thought was the problem with that is it's human error. Right. Comes into the equation
every time. Yeah.
Exactly. So what I basically did, that was like a year ago, more than a year ago. I developed this program, and I've only been really talking about 3 things: scoreboard, field position, blah blah blah. Right. But it's actually a full-on formula. There's
oh wow.
Yeah.
When to go for it, when not to?
Yes, I haven't talked about it because then it gets too complicated for people when I'm trying to explain it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's basically a mathematical formula. So what I'm doing on every play is not myself personally. I'm basically punching in the data and then pressing enter, and it's just spitting out going, do this or do this, or take the 3 points in that particular moment. Now the thing in that Colts game, okay, possibly the scores would have been level late in that game. And if you remember, the Colts had it for the last minute or so, minute and a half, and they were going for the touchdown. They were taking ultra risk, but they were in midfield. So they actually had a chance for just take the 3 points and win the game. So critical decision, which human error caused it, because I do my percentages, and that the percentages told me take the 3 points. So it wasn't me working it out. I take the human emotion out of it. I take the human error possibility out of it, and I just go bang. So
that's important because there's a lot of emotion tied up in those key moments. We've got to have this. We've got to have this fourth down. If we get this touchdown right here, the game's over. Like, it's interesting. I just don't understand why you thought going for it on fourth and go from the 4. You can't run it in that situation. They know you can't run it in that situation. It's a tough conversion. And, immediately afterward, in the halftime show, I don't know if you watched the halftime show, but Bill Cowher, the Super Bowl winning coach who was with the Steelers forever, immediately said, I don't know why they didn't just take the points. I would have taken the points. Yeah, it doesn't take a computer program to tell you that. Although the computer program is a nice touch, Anthony. All I'm saying is that was common sense. And the fact I felt that the Colts lost that game because there are about 3 or 4 examples of their coach, Frank Reich, making a decision like, what? What was that?
Well,
kind of pulling the tile.
Well, don't forget there was one of the coaches for the Browns Steelers game, and one of the Browns coaches came on later on, and he said there was a situation where he decided to punt because he wanted to pin them down. However, he should have taken the 3 points. Right. So here's the thing. This is what I'm saying. It's always this human element to it. Right. Which is causing the problem, which is causing the. So,
and if you think of football like chess, there's a right answer.
Yes,
there is a right answer, and the computer would know it. If you're playing chess, like you should think of this as much more of a mathematical equation than a gut feel. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
So a little bit like everyone's seen the movie Moneyball.
Yes.
Yeah. So in Moneyball, I'm like Brad Pitt in Moneyball, right? No, I wish I was. I'm like the little guy. What's his name? Noah something. The actor.
What's his face?
And I forget his name. But I'm like that. I'm the mathematician that's just worked out a system, a formula, a program to basically take the human error element out of the equation. Right. So
great idea.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. So last week I thought, let me give it one more try because I mean it's my intellectual property, sure, but I'd like the 49ers to use it. So of course I reached out to them again last week.
Did they get back to you?
Can you believe it? Not even a phone call.
Unreal.
Nothing.
Damn. Well, maybe next time.
Is anybody working there? So yeah, I'd love somebody to take on that program because it will help their coach. Now I'm at the point where any team that wants it, I'm more than happy to do it with them. And because I just want to
give them a demo. You're going to have to give them an in-person live demo. So maybe next time.
I just want it to be proven that it actually works and make it easier for the coaches.
I like it. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, there's the plug. Now let's talk Robert Saleh. Give the people what they want. You said you have some advice for Robert Saleh. I don't know what it is. I'm curious to hear what you're saying. What would you like to tell Robert Saleh who's listening right now?
All right. Now with Robert, you talked on one of your shows, Grant, the other day about the Peter's principle. Yeah.
Peter principle.
Did you want to recap that for a sec, or?
Yes, the Peter principle was created by someone named Peter, who said that basically in American not American, but
his name wasn't Peter, but anyway,
whatever. He basically said that in the corporate world, people are promoted to their level of incompetence, which means they're basically promoted until they get to a job that they don't know how to do. And that's where they stick. And then you end up basically with a bunch of people in jobs that they're not qualified to do because they were promoted. They were so good at the previous job. That's the Peter principle.
Exactly. I actually knew about that, which was cool. Like I started working in management when I was only about 25. So yes, I was quite familiar with that and a few other things. And if you remember, I touched on it last week. Remember when I said, I don't know if we were talking about Kyle, but it's not always the right thing to go for a head coaching job. It takes a certain skill set, and if you don't have a skill set, it's actually better. Forget the money.
Right.
I don't want the higher paying job that I know I'm going to fall flat on my face with.
Right.
I'd rather do the job, whatever it is, because here's the thing. Would you like to be OC? Like if by some magical reason,
absolutely, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any shame in being an OC or a DC?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. There is no difference. When I worked in management,
the difference is your paycheck. That's the only thing.
Yeah, but big deal. If you want to make money, that's easy. Just do some nice investments on the side. You'll make money. That's not a problem. But as far as like even when I was managing, I never saw myself as higher or none of that.
Yeah.
Everyone's just here to do a job. So you just want everybody performing at their best, whatever that is, and whatever's best for the whole organization. So to me, exactly that, the Peter principle. You don't even want that. You're not going to last long. I mean, well, you might be lucky.
Here's the thing. I actually think Robert Saleh. I think what you're saying is, Robert, don't do it. It's a trap. No. Stay as a coordinator. Is that what you're saying?
No. So
okay.
So here's what I'm saying. I totally agreed with you, right? You're very bullish on Robert Saleh, which is understandable, right? So here's the thing I wanted to say. That to me there are four parts to being a head coach. Four things that you need. You need to be an awesome motivator. Okay. So you need to be able to, and Saleh's got that, 100%. So that the guys play really hard, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
You need to be in-game manager, and
of course.
And that's why I brought up the core play.
I don't know if you saw Cliff Kingsbury the other day said that that's not his strong suit and he needs help. Cliff, just quit, dude. Just quit now. No, that's a great what you're talking about, Peter principle. Cliff, it ain't for you.
But again, I bet you if you got my play calling program, I bet you he's problem solved.
Exactly. Okay, keep going.
Okay, and then you've got player assessment. You need to be able to analyze the players. The thing I mentioned last week that Grant is unbelievable at, and I'm only saying. And
I shouldn't be better at that than Kyle, but I am, and that's a problem of perception. Kyle just needs to open his eyes and take his ego out of it. If he could do that, he would be much better than me. So perception, yes, perception.
Exactly.
And there's one more.
Okay, and the fourth thing is executive decision making.
That's the biggie.
Which is the big one. So they're the four things. So for Robert Saleh, here's my little advice. Take it or leave it. Is he's got to look within himself, just like Shanahan does, and he's got to say, well, okay, I have the motivation part. I can get the players to play hard for me. That's great. That's only one element. He needs to look at the other three elements and ask himself, do I have this?
Right. Can I do this well?
And that'll
only he knows the answer, really. I don't know about his executive decision-making power. What kind of executive decisions does he make?
Yes. So last week when you were excited by his motivation part, right? Which is
and his acumen, which again Shanahan has.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what he should really be asking himself. And if I were interviewing Robert Saleh, I would basically be going, okay, let's see what happened in San Francisco. We had Buckner was let go.
Right.
From the defense.
Right. Was that your call? Did you want that? Yeah.
What was your involvement in that executive decision? What was your call? Which way were you leaning? Because surely they would have asked the DC for input, right?
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
When you gave a big contract to Eric Armstead, who made that call?
Was that what you wanted to do? Yeah.
Who made that call?
Here's the thing with Robert Saleh. He is brilliant at game planning. He's fantastic. We've seen it. He's really, really terrific coordinator. But when you become the head coach, you can't spend all your time game planning the defense. You have to delegate that to your defensive coordinator. So what that guy does is he has a million ideas, and you come in on Tuesday or Wednesday and say, okay, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're not going to do that. You make the decision, but it's on him to have the ideas. Do you have someone that you trust to delegate ideas? And can you make the right decisions? Or are you just better off as a coordinator being an idea man? I think that's Kyle.
So that's the question. Yeah, that's the question. So we don't know. That's why I didn't want to answer. You know, when you asked me the question last week, I actually didn't want to answer it because technically we don't know the answer yet. But he's phenomenal as DC. So maybe he's better off renegotiating and being the highest paid DC in the competition. He might get $1 million a year. And I know he's got like 6 kids, but $1 million a year should be plenty. I don't really, I don't believe in the whole aspiring to do a job that or he may have those traits.
Yeah.
Or
he may have those traits. Yeah.
Or anything that you don't have, anything that you can't do. I can go through a list of stuff that I'm not good at. We'd probably need about a 3-hour show, but anyway, but I get people to do those things for me.
That's right.
That's right. I don't do it,
That's right.
That's what he needs to give that a bit of thought.
Okay, I got a new question for you, and it's about Saleh. But what does his impending departure mean for the 49ers? What's the significance of it?
Massive. If I didn't say that enough. Okay. Look at it this way. Those 4 things that we just talked about that a head coach really needs. Kyle Shanahan is not good at the 3 that we already talked about in week 1, week 2, week 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Spotting players, executive decision making. What was the other one?
And in-game play.
In-game man. He's terrific at motivating. His guys are always up to play, no matter who.
Yes, but one thing that he have was the players were playing hard. Yes. However, that's not him either.
Yeah, it's a lot of Saleh. It's a lot of Saleh.
So I'm very concerned for the 49ers next year.
Yes.
In that perspective. And the other big one is Grant, I loved your thing on the 36 errors, because the executive decision making is really the big thing.
It's paramount.
It's paramount. You need to be a good decision maker, and
that's your job. You can delegate everything else, but you have to make the decisions.
Yes, and the thing is, I'll tell you something funny. I'm watching the games on Sunday, and I'm there, enjoying the game, doing all this sort of stuff. I watched a couple of games at the same time and all that. And I look at Grant on Twitter, and he's carrying on about video games. Is that right?
What are you talking about?
And I'm like, you bludger. Do you use that word, bludger?
No.
Slack ass, lazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but it reminded me of something. And you were talking about Mortal Kombat. You said you like Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah, it was a quote from this movie, Billy Madison. That's one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. It's an Adam Sandler movie. He goes back to school, and he's in like 4th grade again, and he's 35, and he's trying to have an argument with a kid, and the kid just says he's stupid. But anyway, Mortal Kombat, yeah. You have a
Well, I'll tell you something funny. very, very early on in my career in management, I just happened to be the youngest executive. So the owner of the company, and this was they had amusement arcades all over Australia, and what happened? We'd get a sample coming from Japan of a particular game, of the latest game that they just created, and at that time it was Mortal Kombat, like 1992 or something, right?
With the blood.
Yeah, so something like that. So we get the first sample, and guess whose job it was? So my job was basically playing video games, and I got paid a bomb for it at the time, I remember.
That's cool.
But playing video games. So technically, it's funny that you mentioned Mortal Kombat, because I probably could have been the very first person in Australia to actually play that game. I played it for like 2 weeks straight because
what
I had
a great
to.
Game. That game was great. My experience with Mortal Kombat was being 4, 5, 6, real young, and just pressing as many buttons as I could at once and losing. I would always lose. So that game was kind of a little frustrating. I want to ask you one more question, and we got to talk about Jimmy G. This might take a while.
So sorry, that point. I had a point on that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I had a point on that. So basically, my job was to not just to play video games. I had to play the game, and then I had to make a really high stakes decision as to what quantity we were bringing into the country, and we're talking big dollars, right? And luckily, I made a good call on that Mortal Kombat game, and the company made heaps from it. But here's the thing. It's back to that principle that you were talking about. Sorry, the one before, where you were talking about analyzing and decision making.
Yes.
And you have it or you don't have it.
Right. The psychological management study that I was referencing.
Yes. Now I just had that at 25, 27. I just had that because my brain just thinks mathematically, thinks logistically, So, and that is the problem for Kyle. You can't learn this.
Yes, that's the problem. That's the whole thing. It is who he is. No, he can't learn.
You will never have that because your brain doesn't operate that way. So just quickly, here's the way I see Kyle's mind working.
Yeah.
He's an attention to detail person.
Yes.
Okay, there's another thing if you want to read up on it. It's got to do with big picture. People are either big picture or attention to detail.
You're right. He's attention to detail.
And somewhere in between, obviously, but there are extremes, right?
Yes.
And for example, I'm a big picture person, like to the extreme, right? I'm always sitting back looking at the big picture. Whereas Kyle, I believe, is totally on the other side, attention to detail, which is fantastic skill to have
for a coordinator.
For design, for X's and O's.
It's perfect. It's exactly what you need. Because instead of having that guy block him, why don't we have this guy block him and make this little tweak over here? And it's exactly what you need. It's exactly what you need.
So does that all make sense?
I think it's brilliant. He's lost in the details. You know what? I think I kind of relate to that. I think I'm much more of an attention to detail person than a big picture person. I think I think I would be a horrible head coach, but I think I'd be a pretty good coordinator if I had a little more experience. I think I could do that.
I don't know about that. I get the vibe that you've got some pluses in both sides.
I can see the players. I can take my ego out of it and honestly assess the players. Even if I like the guy and he stinks, I can say it. But in terms of making executive decisions, I don't know, man. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting in my bedroom right now. Is that a good executive decision? I don't know.
True.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Jimmy. I want to talk about Jimmy.
Okay.
The question is everyone asking the wrong question about Jimmy G? How do you frame this debate with him?
What do you think? What's the question? The question is should we cut him or keep him? Should we cut him or keep him? That is the question, isn't it? That's the question everyone's asking, and everyone's debating it, and and I've heard a lot. Oh God, it's going around in circles. Okay, can I reframe the question?
Please do.
Okay, so So should we cut him or keep him? That's the question.
Yep.
How about should we cut him and keep him?
I don't get that. That you just blew my mind. What do you mean?
Pow! Was that a good one? Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I do a lot of stuff. My head spins sometimes. But I do analyzing of stocks on the stock market.
Huh?
Now, I'm analyzing the stock. I'm doing two things. I'm analyzing the individual stock, which in this case is Jimmy G. Yes. But I'm looking at the overall market, because if the overall market, if I'm predicting it to go down, then even good stocks are going down, which I'm not calling Jimmy a good stock, but anyway, but stocks are going down, and stocks that are overpriced, and we established it last week with Jimmy, stocks that are overpriced, when the entire market goes down, those stocks get hammered.
Right, of course.
Shorting those stocks.
They were a luxury stock to begin with, right?
Yes, so you want to be shorting Jimmy. That's the thing. He's totally overpriced, right?
Right.
So let's have a look at it for a second. If the overall market, which is what? The total player payments, it's the salary cap. What's happening to the salary cap next year?
It's going down.
It's likely going down.
Right.
The salary cap is the overall market. Right. It's the stock market. It's Wall Street. Yeah.
Right.
So it's going down overall by about, they're talking 12.5% sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, as I say, if that means all the players are going to roughly drop 12.5%, but not all, because some already have existing contracts.
Right.
So therefore, they're going to hold, right? They're like a stock that holds in the stock market, even when the entire market's going down.
Yes.
But what that means is the stocks that are overpriced, which is Jimmy G, has to take a massive tumble to get to that level.
Yes. So you're saying cut him and re-sign him?
I'm saying cut him and let the market decide his value. You know, it's just like that player that said know your worth.
Yeah.
On the Twitter,
Jones.
right?
DJ Jones. Right.
That's fine. That's great. I've got no problem with that comment, but you need to also accept that when the price is going down, not just when it's going up for the
True.
He was only thinking up, right?
True.
So what I'm
renegotiation is what you're proposing.
So what I'm saying is I don't even want to talk 2 years. I saw somebody on Twitter say, "Oh, if we redo his contract, we've got him for the next 2 years. I don't know that I want him for that long." Well, neither do I. So what I'm saying is cut him, yes, right, and let the market decide that. Let the market determine the price, because I don't believe I'm reading the market just like I do in stocks. I'm reading the market. I'm looking forward. And what I'm seeing is the 32 teams don't want him, and they certainly don't want him at 27 million. Somebody may take him as, even if the Patriots take him, they're only going to take him as a bridging quarterback technically.
Agree.
You're going to draft someone. Yeah. So when I'm analyzing the entire market, which is all the 32 teams, what I'm seeing is his value is only. Well, I like to buy stocks for cheap. So his value is only about $6 million a year.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking at.
Ooh.
A bridging quarterback. A bridging quarterback, right?
Yep.
And salary. Now, here's the thing. If the Patriots are offering him 7 or 8, then the Niners can make the decision, executive decision, by the way. And they've got to go, okay, well, are we going to match that? Or, Jimmy, you have said on interview that you would like to stay with the Niners. You said you like the people. You said he did just say that, didn't he, on interview? So that means, so if I take you at face value on that, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't take that contract.
Well, you may not. I think you shouldn't be taking him at face value. I think what's possible here is if the Niners were to cut him, he would take less or the same amount of money to go somewhere else, like New England.
But that's the thing, you see. That's the thing, and that's the art of executive decision making, and that's the art of negotiating, because everything is negotiable.
Right.
True?
Right. True.
Well, wait till I do a negotiation with Grant as to what he's going to pay me for this show. But so what? That was a joke. So what? So what happens here is, if I'm the coach, I'm speaking to Jimmy, and I'm saying, look, Jimmy, it's not that we want to get rid of you, and they've said that. It's not. We're more than happy for you to stay here. That's fine. However, you happen to be overpriced.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. I can't upgrade the O-line. I'm going to upgrade the O-line for you on this new system. You're going to be safer. You're going to look fantastic. You've already got about 120 million bucks from us. So I'm pretty sure you're okay financially.
Yeah.
So you don't need to get arky about it. You've already been compensated by the 49ers extremely well. To me, I'm more inclined. I'm a very loyal person. You know, I've worked for companies for like 10 years straight. So it's not a given that Jimmy G wants to leave. You know, he's going to go, oh well, you cut me, I'm leaving. That's not necessarily always the case.
Jimmy, we got to cut you. The pandemic has forced our hands. The cap's going down. We're going to let the market determine your worth, and we're happy to pay you your worth, but we have to all agree that you no longer are worth $26.9 million a year. You're not.
And the market determines that. So,
yeah, and while you're making that amount of money on our team, that's coming out of the offensive line's pocket, and it's only going to hurt you.
It's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt the whole team. You're not going to be able to move forward. So my suggestion is cut him and keep him. Did you like that?
I think it's brilliant. I love it, Anthony. That's why you keep coming back, because you have something that no one else suggests. Anthony, I think it's time for me to go celebrate my birthday.
You. Yes.
But this was a wonderful show. It keeps getting better. Thank you.
Have a great day. Have it with your wife. Enjoy the good day, and awesome.
Have a great day as well. I know it's the 14th where you are, so have a nice, long, wonderful Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Awesome. Great show.